Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News, coming to you from our digital desk. We're going to be taking you to some live pictures here. This is on Cleveland's south side. Pretty major fire, as you can tell by the amount of smoke, and we've been watching it for at least the last 10 minutes, and it'll vary in size. We do know that the city of Cleveland, the fire department, is calling this a triple three. That's terminology for basically a three alarm. They're going to have three major sets of crews out to this scene. Now, the address that they have been sent to, and that's just what we have to go on at this point, is that we do know that it is on Bradley Road. The address that was dispatched is 4195 Bradley Road. This is going to be in the vicinity of the Steelyard Common area. It's going to be just to the south of the plant, the ArcelorMittal major plant. In fact, I'm going to show you a map here of the area.
The firefighters union confirms that it's a three-alarm fire with a lot of propane.
Okay, so we're being told this is a three-alarm fire with apparently a lot of propane tanks. Here is the area. If you look up in this direction here, this is the major ArcelorMittal plant. If you know where Steelyard Common is, the shopping area with Walmart and Target, that's right here. But the address that has been called into is right here. I'm going to zoom in off of Bradley Road. And we're being told that one of the major concerns is that there are a lot of propane tanks. Now, as we zoom in, I'm not sure if that's what we can see in the back of this, what's being called, it looks like River Recycling Industries. Real small print there, but again, some sort of industrial fire on Bradley Road. You can see there are a number of other businesses on each side. You can see the Cuyahoga River is right behind this property. And then as we go north, there's the major ArcelorMittal plant, the steel plant, and then we can even take you just a little further north and you can see Steelyard Common. But again, live pictures here as we wait to get more information. This is a three-alarm fire in the south side, so just south of the major steel plant in the Steelyard area. This is not the steel plant. You can see a lot of that in this shot here. This is apparently a recycling business on Bradley Road, just south of the major steel plant that you see at Steelyard. If you've ever been to Steelyard Common, this is a little bit further south from there. We are hearing reports confirmed from the Cleveland Fire Union. There are a number of propane tanks in this area, so we just kind of want to keep an eye on this live picture. If we see potentially some explosions, if those propane tanks were to reach sort of an overheated level and we get some of those pressurized explosions, we will keep an eye on it. The fact that we're seeing some of this smoke become a little more gray than it was black earlier, that gives us indication that the fire department is getting some water on this fire at this point. But the question is, what are they battling down there? What are potentially some of the hazardous chemicals in this area? We're going to have to wait and hear if there are any evacuations that might be necessary. I want to go back to this map that I'm looking at while we keep this live picture up here. I want to look and see if there are neighborhoods in the area, and it does appear, I want to zoom down, we see off of Jennings Road, I can see a couple of what looks like maybe condominiums or apartment complexes. There are houses off of Jennings Road, I would say within a quarter mile of where this fire is. So we will have to keep an eye on that situation. We have not gotten any word that there are any kind of evacuations being ordered. I don't want to say that at this point, but I do want to go back to this map just very briefly. You can see the plant there in red, the recycling business. If we cross Bradley, here about a quarter mile, maybe a half a mile, are the apartments and the buildings that I was talking about off of Jennings Road. They are in proximity to this area, so that'll be something to keep an eye on, as this black smoke is clearly probably visible for miles. If you were on the Interbelt Bridge anywhere coming in or out of downtown, you can probably see this smoke, as it has been going now for at least maybe 20, 30 minutes. We have confirmed with the Cleveland Fire Department, with the president of the union there confirming this is a 3-alarm fire on Bradley Road, and that one of their major concerns right now is there are apparently quite a few propane tanks at this facility. And so again, we're just keeping our eye on this picture because we have seen this smoke. This is about as big as we've seen the smoke, and then it'll die down and it gets back to this level. We do have a reporter and a photographer on the way to this scene. We will obviously make sure that they are safe, but when they can get us a live picture, we will watch for that as well. But again, if you're just joining us, let's reset this. In the last 20 to 30 minutes, a major fire on Cleveland's south side. This is technically on Bradley Road, but it is in the area of sort of Steelyard Common. It's just south of Steelyard Common by probably about a half a mile to a mile, that shopping area. And then obviously the major ArcelorMittal steel plant is in this area. That I think that's a lot of what we're looking over to get to this picture that we're showing. This is one of our 19 News First Alert camera network that we're using to be able to see this. And as you can see, a lot of that smoke sort of dying down. This is kind of what we've been watching over the past 20, 30 minutes is there will be a lull in the smoke. It looks like maybe, they're getting a handle on it, and then all of a sudden there will be another burst of pretty thick smoke. And I think that's actually what we're seeing here now is there was a little bit of a lull, but now some really thick black smoke coming up and out of that area. We're going to get the latest information on this just as soon as we can. I want to double check one thing here as we're live. The Cleveland Fire Department, the union, is usually very good at, say it again? We're hearing multiple buildings are on fire. That's probably not a good sign. And in fact, there's some new video coming from the Cleveland Fire Department's Twitter page. I'm going to try and navigate. We kind of have a new system here that we're using. There's some new video that's coming out from the Cleveland Fire Department. We're going to get that video turned here and on air so that we can give you sort of a look at what they are dealing with on the scene. I'm looking at some of this video now, and it does appear to be the major buildings on that piece of property. And it almost looks like the fire department has had to maybe take a defensive stance here because of perhaps what they do and don't know about what's in that building as far as chemicals. And we do know that they are worried about propane tanks in this area. And let me the smoke is not near as dense as it has been. So it makes me wonder if the fire department is getting a good handle on this. We will check here in just a second. I'm going to try one more thing. And in fact, here let's take a look. This is some of the video, like I said, has been put out by the Cleveland Fire Department. You can see the industrial nature of this fire. Multiple buildings there. They're calling this industrial fire east of Jennings. A third alarm struck, meaning they have upped this to another level to bring in even more trucks. Here are more pictures from the Cleveland Fire and what they are dealing with. And you see what I was talking about earlier about perhaps they are in a defensive mode here, that they have not gotten real close to that building. That ladder truck is extended all the way out, and that may be because of what's potentially in that building. They're just trying to get as much water on this as possible. Another live look from our camera. We can see the smoke is, again, not near as thick as it has been. It is still black. So whatever they're recycling in that building, we're not sure. Are they tires? But boy, based on that video, that is a pretty big recycling operation. You're going to see some of the apparatus here and what's going around that building. That's some pretty heavy equipment attached to that building. So obviously a concern there. And here some more of those pictures from the Cleveland Fire Department. In fact, as we go back to our live picture, the smoke is getting less and less. So this is a good sign for that area. If you're just joining us, we've been watching what is a pretty significant industrial fire on the south side of Cleveland. And just as we say that, here comes more and more of that black smoke up and out of this property. This is on Bradley Road. The address that was dispatched is in the 4100 block of Bradley Road. It is south of Steelyard Common by maybe about a mile. And ArcelorMittal, the major plant, that is not what's on fire. This appears to be some sort of recycling business on Bradley Road, south of Steelyard Common, if you know where that is. We're looking using our 19 First Alert network of cameras as we wait for one of our crew to get on the scene there. But we wanted to bring you these images and the information that we have at this point. One of the major concerns, again, is we're being told there are a number of propane tanks in this area. I'm going to go back to the images that have been put out by the Cleveland Fire Department. They are trying to get as much water on this. There are multiple buildings, from what we're being told, multiple portions of this recycling facility on fire. And there's the obvious concerns for what is in that building and what could potentially explode, and what the firefighters and the rest of the public in that area could be exposed to. That's one of the questions here. But again, we see the smoke changing from time to time. This is another one of those times where there's a lull. It certainly looks like they're getting a better handle on this, but there continues to be quite a bit of smoke pouring out of this recycling business on Bradley Road. I'm going to look up real quick to see what I can, let's see, this building, this business is technically called, according to just Google Maps, River Recycling Industries. The Cuyahoga River is just immediately behind the property there, so that is obviously an environmental concern when you're pouring this much water from the fire department on there. They are literally within feet of the Cuyahoga River there on Bradley Road. So that'll have to be something that'll be monitored. Questions we'll have to ask. Was there any kind of runoff from the water? What type of material does river recycling industry, what are they dealing with there? We know that there was a concern for propane tanks in the area. And again, just as we saw the smoke subsiding, it's back up to a pretty good black plume coming back up and out of there. We haven't seen anything that I would exactly categorize as maybe a propane tank exploding. We haven't seen anything like that live. We haven't seen any major fireballs go up into the air, but that's what they're dealing with down there on Bradley Road. Again, we'll reset this. We've been monitoring this for about the last half hour. We can see clearly the amount of smoke coming out of there. More than likely, if you've been anywhere in the downtown area on the south side, coming in or out of the city, you would have been able to see this smoke, pretty black, thick plumes coming up and out of there. And what I'm going to do, I want to go back to the map one more time just so people have an idea of where we're talking. And as we watch that smoke, here is again the map of the area. You can see that is where the red dot is. That is the river recycling industry. And look at how close the Cuyahoga River is. I mean, it is on the back side of this property. And we'll zoom out just a little bit more. You can see that is the ArcelorMittal, the major plant just to the north there by about maybe a half a mile, and then maybe a mile as you get into the Steelyard Common up in this area. So that's what we're dealing with. All righty. All right, we're gonna. Okay. Back to the live pictures as we're gonna get to some of that video. And here is that Bradley, here's the video from the city of Cleveland. So just a lot of water being poured on that building, that recycling plant, because we know that multiple buildings on this property are on fire. Again, these pictures and video come to us from the Cleveland Fire Department, but major concern here, especially when you see the amount of smoke coming up and off of that property as they're pouring water on it. So something inside that building, and you can see a number of trucks, a number of semis associated with this building. And now back to our live pictures. And again, we've got one of those lulls in the smoke, and so hopefully we'll get to an area where this where we no longer see smoke. But just as we say that, here comes another pretty good plume up and out of that area. We did hear from the Cleveland Fire Department, from the union, that they are concerned about a number of propane tanks in this area. And again, according to the Google Maps, just Google is all we have to go on. The address of this call is for a building called River Recycling Industries. It appears to be the source of this fire, and again, much less smoke than we have seen, so that's a good sign that they're getting enough water on this area to impact at least as far as we can see from this distance, to impact how far he's at. We can even see this from our ParmaCam. I'm going to show you this picture. Yeah, there's the ParmaCam. So we actually have two different angles here of this fire. This looks more, this is looking from south to north, but you can see that smoke there. And that coincides with our other shot, now north looking south. So I tell you what, we're gonna keep this shot up from Parma because we get a little bit of a better view, a little bit of a different angle as it looks towards downtown. Would be to your left here in this picture, and that would be Steelyard Common would be to your left as well, but not by far, not much. If you're just joining us, this is a major fire on Cleveland's south side. It's off of Bradley Road. It is obviously an industrial area. The building, the business in question, we believe is called River Recycling Industries. And it is on Bradley, and the Cuyahoga River is literally in its backyard. From the building, we can see it is just a matter of a couple of feet. I'm going to go back to the map here as we continue to watch that. Here is the building in question where that red placement marker is. That is the Cuyahoga River just on the back side of that property. So that's where the concern is going to be as far as an environmental impact. We'll have to wait and find out from officials how much water was poured on it and what kind of an impact that will have. We do have our first live pictures now on the ground. On 5. Here's our first live pictures from on the ground there. One of our photographers, reporters on the ground. You can see quite a bit of water. You can see all the crews that are still, there's smoke coming from multiple areas out of this. And
live view?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's our first look, and you can see the backside of whatever that building was has going to be completely has been completely gutted on the backside there. And I think that was one of the difficulties here is there are a number of buildings on this property, and you can see some of the workers there. It looks like some of the workers just on the backside of this property. Again, this is on Bradley Road. You can see the immense amount of fire support that they have here, a number of lines coming through. Looks like some of the equipment that needs to get in there. Just wanted to see what kind of truck this is. Fire emergency apparatus maintenance. So I wonder if one of the trucks is having an issue, so they're having to call in their maintenance. But they've got lines running from half a mile to a mile away to this business at the end of that street. Again, this is the industrial area on Bradley Road. I looked at the map earlier, and there's maybe a neighborhood within a half a mile to a mile to the south and west of this property off of Jennings. and they are still putting an immense amount of water on this property. Again, we believe the name of the business is River Recycling. And one of the questions, I'm going to do a little research to see if I can find out here what River Recycling Industries, if we can get an idea of exactly what they are recycling. They are a brass and bronze metal processor. Said they're constantly evolving to our business to better serve our customers. This business, according to their own website, founded in 1919. So we're talking a more than 100-year-old business here. I'm just going to read you from their website, just learning what we can about River Recycling. River Recycling Industries is a family-owned business founded in 1919, operate as an ingot marker from 1919 to 2001. We began to produce mechanical pucks as an alternative to ingot in 2002. Today we apply our knowledge as a secondary smelter. So obviously if they are smelting products there, they have furnaces, high temperature apparatus there. They're using their knowledge as a secondary smelter to effect solutions from our customers with cost-effective units of scrap metal, briquetted material, briquetted material, and Riverloy pucks. So obviously this is a business that is melting scrap metal from local businesses, local agencies. There's probably a lot of business that comes out of ArcelorMittal. When they have leftover scrap, apparently they take it to this recycling business and they melt it down. That's what a smelter is. It's a giant, usually molten hot facility melting down scrap metal. So that's the business that we're dealing with. I want to go back to that live picture from our Parma camera. You can see the smoke has been diluted quite a bit. So that is a good sign, even though on the ground we can tell there's still a lot of white smoke coming out of there. That is much better than the black, thick smoke that we saw earlier. And in fact, these are pictures from the Cleveland Fire Department when they first got on scene, and you're going to see how thick this smoke was. We've got these pictures here. You can see it reaching far into the sky. Here's the video from when they first got on scene. Multiple buildings is what we're being told, and you can see you've got tanks. If they are heating up scrap metal to get it melted down, they have to have a pretty massive fuel source. Again, if you're just joining us, you're watching our live coverage here of a major industrial fire on Cleveland's near south side. This is just south of Steelyard Common. Just using that as a reference, most people kind of know where that is. This is probably about a mile south of Steelyard Common. It's on Bradley Road. A company called River Recycling Industries. We know, just doing some research, this is a business that melts down scrap metal to recycle scrap metal for a number of businesses in the area. This has been a business in for 100 years, apparently, is what we're being told. Our reporter Stephen Hernandez is on the ground there. The good news is that the amount of smoke that we are seeing come out of this has lessened quite a bit. In fact, I'll show you a picture again from one of our aerial cameras. The fact that we don't see that column of black, thick smoke coming out of this is a good sign. When we go back to our live pictures on the ground, when you see this white smoke, that is an indication that water has been put on, quite a bit of water to get the fire basically out. You're dealing with just hot areas at this point. We do know this is a what's the fire department is calling a 3-alarm fire or a triple three. That is technical jargon that they use for how many squads are out there. And each squad consists of different trucks, a ladder truck, a pumper truck. So when you have 3 sets of companies out there, that is a very good indication of how big this fire was. At one point, they were very concerned about a number of propane tanks in the area. But again, let's go back to this picture out of our Parma camera here. You can hardly see any smoke at all compared to what we were dealing with even just 20-30 minutes. But just as we say that, you see a little bit more smoke come out of there. And now let's go back to our live ground shot. You see again more black smoke coming out of that building right there. So that's almost saying that something has flared back up a little bit, and this is what they're going to be dealing with probably for much of the afternoon. We do know that the Cuyahoga River is located just behind this building. And so that'll be one of the concerns and you see the firefighter telling him to pull back so that he can get water below him on whatever has reignited in that building just below. So they are getting more water on that source. You can tell now, see the white smoke come up out of there. I am no fire expert, but I have covered enough fires in my career to understand the difference between black smoke and white smoke. Black smoke is when product is actually on fire, whether it's a house, whether it's recycling material like this. When you see white smoke coming up, that is flame that's being extinguished with a lot of water. You can see how it's turning white there as they get more and more water on that hot spot. So that was clearly a building that started to catch back on fire. We've been able to see from the distance here the entire back of that portion of the building has just been completely melted away, and they are getting more and more water on that particular building. And the reason I want to stay on these pictures is it almost looks like we're seeing some ash fly through the air there, perhaps from this fire. But if there were propane tanks that are a concern, that's what we were being told by the fire department. Hopefully they're able to stop this from catching those tanks on fire, those tanks exploding. We haven't heard or seen anything like that now that our camera is on the ground. But we are just going to keep an eye on this situation. Again, a 3-alarm fire on Cleveland's south side, the very industrial area, just past the ArcelorMittal steel plant in Steelyard, probably about a mile to the south of that. We looked up this business, the River Recycling Industries. They melt down reclaimed and recycled scrap metal. So if you think about what it takes to melt down metal, we're dealing with high temperatures at this business. They very specifically say in their description they use a smelter. That is something that, using a fuel source, gets up to an extremely high temperature. They melt down the scrap metal. And then, according to what I was reading on their site, it sounds like they pour them into pucks and get a puck-sized piece of recycled metal. But the good news is they are getting the upper hand on this. Let's go back to the live picture from our Parma Tower camera. Very, very light white smoke at this point. So that is the good news compared to, but again, we see that black smoke. That building appears to be just a problem that is still trying to melt or catch fire, whatever's in that main building or that auxiliary building. It's not the main building, it's just off to the side. They're having a problem keeping that out. We are looking at live, we're looking at live pictures from the ground of this area. And again, that building is the one that's in question that keeps, you see the black smoke, and they're going to come back and have to put more and more water on there as it just wants to rekindle and ignite from that position. Just kind of listening to some of the chatter that's happening on the ground there. Sometimes you can learn a lot just by listening to commands being given by the fire department. We could see the one firefighter climbing down from that ladder truck, potentially taking a break. As our camera moves here, I'm going to switch to our other shot here from our Parma camera. And you can see, I'm going to go back to our position on the ground there. You can see there are a number of buildings in the background, but they're really focusing on that major building right there. One of the things we can see is they're having just a difficult time. There's a lot of trucks back in this area, not just fire trucks, but now we see it looks like they're worried about the utilities. That electrical truck has just gone back in there. They've got to get some of these other vehicles out of the way. The good news is that clearly the Cleveland Fire Department has a handle on this. There's just a little white smoke remaining coming up and out of this industrial fire at River Recycling Industries. It's a business that has operated in Cleveland since 1919. That's a heck of a longevity for a recycling company that melts down scrap metal. I believe our Stephen Hernandez is on the ground there. We're going to try and get a live report from him just as soon as possible, because it does appear that this is winding down. They've gotten the major upper hand on this. So as soon as we hear from our reporter Stephen Hernandez, he's live on the ground, we'll get a quick report about what he's been able to, I guess, take in out there. I'm very curious to ask Stephen about just the smell that's out there, if it's been a high chemical smell or just your prototypical fire smell out there. So let's reset for those perhaps just joining us. So you can see they've made major progress on this industrial fire on Cleveland's south side. A company called River Recycling Industries, just from their website, have been able to determine that they use a smelting process that's extremely high heat to be able to melt down scrap metal. And from the sounds of the description, they make pucks out of that metal. Probably just the shape and the size of those pucks make it easier for transport, for reuse, and to recycle businesses' scrap metal and perhaps get it back to them. We can see this shot here from our Parma Tower camera here, that the amount of smoke has basically gotten this all the way knocked out, and made significant progress on this. What we're going to do now is we're just waiting for our reporter Stephen Hernandez to get all connected, to be able to give us one little final report from the ground as we wait for this. We go back to our live picture here from the ground. And we're going to wait for our reporter, Steven Hernandez, here to come online with us.
Okay. If there's only one in there, it's the one I just stuck.
That's the other, yeah. We're looking again at live pictures, just waiting for our Steven Hernandez to step in front of the camera there, give us kind of a report at what he's seeing on the ground there. This scene has dramatically changed in the last 20-30 minutes for the better. That is the good news here. Really hardly any smoke coming off this property now as the Cleveland Fire Department dealing with what was an industrial area. We understand that there were a number of propane tanks, so the danger level was there. And then again, whatever chemicals may have been in and around this industry that melts down scrap metal. You can even see now just a light smoke rolling off to the right of your screen as we get this camera set here to hear from our Steven Hernandez. And Steven, if you're there, we just need you to step in front of the camera, give us an indication. And we'll just wait for Steven to get there for our shot here. Just stand by for us.
Any additional resources you have responding to this incident, have them come from the south Jennings.
I got to switch mine out anyway, so as soon as I switch out, I'm ready.
Just going to recap our situation here. For those of you still watching here, we are watching the end stages. That's the very good news. The end stages of a major industrial fire on Cleveland's south side. The River Recycling Industries is the name of this business on Bradley Road. It's very near the Jennings Freeway. It looks like we do have our Steven Hernandez. Steven, do you have me?
Yep, I can hear you. Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. That's good news. We love technology. Steven, you've been there for 20, 30 minutes now. Just walk us through, especially the major difference between what it was and what it is now.
Yeah, what it was a plume of smoke that you could see even from the highway, just the intensity of the fire that has been here since this afternoon. I got here about 40 minutes ago. You could see engines slowly make their way over, slowly come across this corner of Bradley and Jennings into the area where, according to the fire department, multiple buildings have caught on fire. But since then, I'm sure you can see from this shot here, multiple hoses are being used to put out this fire bit by bit. We're still waiting for more information as we believe the PIO is in this area. Still no word from them yet, but we are on standby for more information.
Excellent. Stephen, give us an indication, and we want obviously everybody safe. Was there a particular smell with this? So you've covered a number of fires. With this being an industrial area, what did it smell like? A heavy chemical, or was there ever a concern for that?
Yeah, of course, that's the first concern that comes up. I have been to multiple instances, but right now there is no particular chemical smell in the air, more so than the smell of burning ash that would come with building a structure like this on fire. It could be similar to wood or just a wooden structure, a building structure on fire, but no chemicals that spark concern. None of the officers that are standing on this corner of Bradley and Jennings on standby seem to have any mask or facial coverings on, or any of their news teams that are in this area. No discernible smell that would bring concern right off the bat.
That's good news. Our Stephen Hernandez live for us. Stephen, we're going to keep your shot up. And for our viewers at home, that we're just going to keep this up. And on the off chance that we get the public information officer, as Stephen alluded to, is in that area, we will just keep this shot up, so don't disconnect for us. And if we see you folks scramble to get that interview with the PIO, we'll take it from there. Stephen, thanks for your coverage.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap that up for Stephen and his information. We're going to keep this picture up, this live picture, in case we do get that interview with the public information officer. I believe it's Mike Norman with the Cleveland Fire Department. As you can see, the Cleveland Fire Department has done an incredible job of getting this knocked down. I want to show you the video from earlier. This was given to us by the Cleveland Fire Department when they first got there. Look at the thick black smoke that came off of this. You heard Stephen talk about there are multiple buildings on this property, so that was a major concern. But the Cleveland Fire Department has done a tremendous job, in roughly an hour, getting this thing all but under control, with just a little bit of hot spot, that building that you see the white smoke coming up. We're going to leave this picture up for the time being. If we get an update from the Cleveland Fire Department, you'll see that live. For now, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Make sure you tune in at 3 o'clock for an update on Channel 19.